Hello! In today's Archaeoscoop, my top 3 headlines are as follows. Headline number 1 comes from Binchester, which has been recently labelled the Pompeii of the North. Now, as one of my colleagues said, can we not talk about things without getting verbal diarrhoea? It is a rather dramatic label, but it is fairly pertinent in this case, and that is to say that what we're talking about is a freestanding an increasingly impressive freestanding Roman building, and the possibility of a small complex of buildings as well being preserved under the current ground level. Now, the site has gained attention last year for the finding of a stone head, this year for the building, and also the finding of some very early evidence for Christianity. And I thought it was worthwhile highlighting essentially a few different headlines to do with this, so you can read up on the site for yourselves. So that's headline number 1, but it's several news stories under headline number 1. So check it out, it's well worth a read. Headline number 2 actually comes from Oxfordshire, where the Friends of Oxfordshire Museum are desperately trying to raise enough money to keep an Iron Age mirror here in the UK. A bronze mirror dating from around the 1st century BC is one of only 18 complete mirrors known to exist. It was found by a metal detectorist in Didcot and recently sold actually to an anonymous bidder outside the UK, so a private collector somewhere. However, a temporary export ban has been put on this mirror, which will allow the Oxfordshire Museum to try and raise £33,000 in order to keep the mirror, in Oxfordshire in a museum and rather in someone's private collection. Currently, the Friends of Oxfordshire Museum have retained £23,000. They have £10,000 to go, and they're hoping that they'll make it before this museum, so this mirror rather, so it leaves the museum and leaves the country, as it were, leaves the museum's grasp. As Carol Anderson, director of the museum, said, this mirror is a nationally important archaeological artefact, as well as an outstanding work of art and piece of craftsmanship. It's actually done in Latin style, so sort of the very famous, many people would call it Celtic style, but a very particular Latin style mirror. Beautiful object, and hopefully they'll get to keep it in the country. It'd be a shame if it just went to someone's bookcase somewhere. That's headline number 2. Headline number 3 actually comes from Thessaloniki. I always get that one wrong. Thessaloniki in northern Greece, where what they're calling the Parthenon of Thessaloniki is under threat of being covered by apartment blocks. Indeed, it is going to go ahead. This Parthenon, or rather very impressive temple, is just being called the Parthenon, actually dates to around the 6th century BC. It was actually moved into the city, and it's a very impressive structure. It was found back in the year 2000, and since then there have been discussions as to what will happen with it. Now, the School of Architecture has actually said that it's possible to build the plans on 2 levels, so you can actually see the remains underground and the modern buildings will be above, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Instead, the remains which are there, the remains which haven't been taken to a local museum, are going to be covered up and possibly destroyed by an office block development. Genuine shame, really, but it highlights this ongoing tension between the past and the present, and also the affordability of the past when it comes to the present. Greece certainly doesn't have an abundance of funds to throw at preserving such sites, but we can only hope that the 14 years that they've had to possibly study the area has given archaeologists and historians a good insight into what is and probably was there. So there you go, those are my 3 headlines for today. If you want those news stories and also other news stories in the past few days, all you need to do is check out the links below, as ever. Included in those links is the follow-up to the Sekhemka situation, where the people who have been campaigning against the sale are keeping us up to date with, for example, in this case, the review of the accreditation of Northampton Museum and how that's going. So do check those out, read to your heart's content. There's a huge array of different news stories today, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. As ever, whatever you're up to, do take care. Until next time, bye bye.